Hey there! Wow, it's been a really long time. So much has happened! I started a different machine from Horizon Zero Dawn Forbidden West, abandoned it halfway through, started a new one, went away for work, got COVID, got more busy at work. It's just been a while. I'm really happy to see you all again. As you may have guessed from the title, we're back with another HCD machine build. So many of you found me after the lovely Stetson Studio posted his Tremor Tusk and mentioned me. I'm so happy he liked my work because I love everything he does. I was already excited about making another machine, but all the comments and love on that video really got me going. Thank you so much. After a lot of soul searching and a false start, I decided to go with the Spikesnout. There's one tiny side quest where Spikesnouts bolster a behemoth, so I thought he'd be a good match. Originally I was going to do this to scale until I realized how small it would have to be to match with the behemoth I already made. Hard no, I'm just not that good yet. I made a little base for him early in the project. I learned from the behemoth that it's easier to have the base early. I loved the little cacti, aka desert spike stalk, so I decided to make the base look similar to the desert near Hidden Ember. I really didn't expect to love Las Vegas, but it ended up being one of my favorite places in the game. Speaking of the new game, I had the biggest fangirl moment a few months ago. The Noshir Dalal liked my behemoth. It's insane for me to think about my favorite character's voice actor actually finding my video, then watching it, and then also liking it. Mind blown. I literally can't stop happy giggling about it. Okay, back to the Spikesnout. Let's just magic some clay skin on him. Or maybe not? Alright, let's get it on him the old-fashioned way. I used the molds I made earlier and a lot of little snakes to make all his under muscles. I had a lot of fun making his little balloon sacks too. They were a fun shape. I made the bubbles out of small balls of clay, then rolled out another sheet of clay, textured it, and draped it over the bubble so it looked like an inflated sack. I added little valve thingies and started adding the sack straps with liquid Sculpey. The more I worked on him, the more I realized how much detail there is in this design. I adore the additional details and textures in the new game. I drove myself crazy pulling a million screenshots from the game. It was an excellent excuse to play through multiple times. I took some really detailed shots, like I said, but I still ended up making some mistakes. Like this part, I did the whole thing backwards, and I'd already baked it. So I ended up chiseling it off and rebuilding it properly this time. I made a million paper templates for each of the armor pieces. First, I'd draw out the whole shape and cut as many as I needed. Then I'd keep cutting down the pattern to make more and more layers from the clay and join them together with my favorite liquid Sculpey. Liquid Sculpey again was my best friend to make these fresh armor pieces stick to the baked muscles. After baking, I ended up filling a lot of the gaps between the armor and the muscle so they wouldn't be as fragile long term. For his tail sack, I ended up building the bubbles separately and lashing them to his tail with wire. Not super elegant looking, but it's all gonna be covered anyway. At first, I tried to texture the skin before adding it, but I ended up losing a lot of detail. I ended up putting the clay on, then creating a new round texture roller to roll on the detail. Progress break! He's coming along well, but the more I look at him, the more I realize just how much is left. Off camera, I created one of his little sprayer spouts, but made it a little too big. So I made it again, this time the right size, and I could make a mold. Since he had so many repeating elements, I ended up with a ton of molds this time. I ended up losing some footage. When I say losing footage, I mean I took some really excellent video of the side of my table because I never turned the camera on, and then I turned it on when I thought I was turning it off and putting my camera away. So I made another piece that attaches to his tail fins, and we're gonna stick little sprayers all over it. Just pretend you saw the rest of it. Just 5 more of these to go. I'll attach them later so I know I won't knock them off while sculpting the other parts. Onto his bulky tail. This thing is massive. When I was making sketches, I always felt like they were way too big, but looking at the screenshots, it really is that huge. Okay, my camera is tired of sprayers. It won't even focus on them at this point. Again, I'm amazed by all the fun details. His ankles are actually ball joints. Look at his cute, slightly out of focus feetsies. I made, you guessed it, another mold for the toes, so I didn't have to make 12 by hand. And again, off cam, I made another mold for his ankle joints, and once we got the feet on, I attached the ankle joints to the feet and the ankle balls. That little cake of clay was the real MVP on this project. It's half liquid Sculpey and half Sculpey firm, and it is a great way to stick things together and be a gap filler at the same time. It's squishy enough to stick things together and really stick, but also firm enough to not just run off at the beginning of the baking process. Since my oven is really small, I have to bake him on his side, and that would have made the tail fins distort. So I ended up baking him one more time and attaching the tail fins with super glue. But this is a huge commitment. Once I super glue, I can't heat him again because of the possibility of toxic fumes. Lots of glue, and we are finally done with the sculpt. It's only taken months. While I was working on it, I was trying to decide if we were going with the regular Spikesnout color or the Apex version. I bought myself some time to decide by painting the desert spike stock. Productive procrastination! This paint is so shiny though, which I honestly don't love. Does anyone know how to make acrylics less shiny? I've tried a matte acrylic extender to help and also give myself more drying time, but it hasn't really made any difference. This is a place I might come back to someday. I wanted to get real sand and glue it down, but that just didn't end up happening. So here we are. It's a bright, almost white sand, so I'm not gonna do too much for now. Just a light coat of khaki and a more orangey yellow wash for the recesses, and a little bit of white dry brushing. After I finally decided on doing the Apex color scheme, I started priming. This was way too light though, so I went back again. And again. I didn't think the dark gray was a great base for his more colorful areas, so I primed those in white. I also mixed up a black and dark gunmetal and started painting some of those side pipes and wires and sprayer sacks and sack belts. Later on, it will occur to me that I should have just primed all the dark areas in this color. I've been so excited to try this! I ordered a bunch of glow-in-the-dark colors because of all the fun glowy bits that the Spikesnout has. So we're starting with his orange back sack, so here we go. It is really watery, like super see-through. So I think what we'll have to do is base it in an orange color and then go back over it with the glow-in-the-dark. I lost some of the texture, so I went back later with a darker orange wash to get some of those shadows back. Working our way down the rainbow, let's go to the yellow tail sack. Not as fun to say as back sack, but it'll be fine. Oof, we're really gonna need a few coats on this. I went really splotchy on the priming because the texture was really fine and almost got completely filled in while I was painting. So we'll go overboard and slap on some banana, then put the glowy banana on top. I wasn't kidding when I said we were working our way down the rainbow. For someone who's supposed to be recognized by, black and gold armor plates and purple muscles, he is a veritable rainbow. Red eyes when he's attacking, orange back sack, yellow tail sack and accents, green canister thingies, blue belly balloon, and purple muscles. So now that he's tasted the rainbow, where's his signature black and gold? We're getting there. Remember that black and gunmetal I mixed up earlier? Well, that's becoming our main color. I didn't want to go with just flat black because he really is metallic. Plus, how would I do shadows on something that's already completely black? Looking at the screenshots, it's a really dark gold. Like really dark. I got super lucky when I was testing out the paints I have, and this pearl deep brown is perfect. I was going to mix it with a little gray or a little black, but it was actually kind of perfect the way it was. Now it's time for a mini machine manicure. That is a sentence I thought I would never say. I mixed up a deep yellow, same as his canisters. This yellow shows up a lot on him. I had to add it to the tail fins and all the little sprayer spouts. I didn't realize how many yellow details he had until I was running out of paint. Time to get into all these details with a dark wash. It's so magical how the details just pop when the wash goes on. I was really wanting to do this cool detailing. Most of the time you can't even see it in the game unless the light hits it right and you're not worried about getting killed. I had such ambitions to do this until I tried drawing the pattern and realized I can't do it. I barely got one done and I can't make them fit together. Maybe I'll try to practice and maybe someday I'll come back, but not today. We're just gonna pretend that the light isn't right. I wanted to add a tiny bit of dry brushing to make sure the details were showing up, but it is super subtle. I ended up doing it in a few select places, but I think the fun part will be a bit of weathering. I'm not going to go overboard like the behemoth, but it's going to really help bring out the details on those flat yellow and orange bits. Just like the first machine, the triangle motif continues, but more, because every one of these sprayers has a triangle, and there are some really subtle triangles, and then also some white triangle in triangles. Once again, I'm doing a great job with my focus. I'm using a GoPro, so sometimes I have a hard time seeing what's actually in focus on the tiny screen. Sorry. It's done! It's over! We're finished! I was so happy at this point until I realized it was time to edit the video and I wasn't actually done. But since you're watching this, it means it really is over now. And you all know what that means. It's time to start the next thing. Thank you all for watching. It's always great to chat with you in the comments. I hope that you have a great day, and I will see you in the next one.